Welcome everyone to another fun Wednesday, the Wednesday after the New Year. So happy New Year as well. My name is Omari Valentine. I am a digital marketer, and I am here to present for the eBiz Marketing Academy another topic that is really important to us when it comes to getting our businesses going, and that is for businesses who are looking to start selling online. So we actually are doing a series now, a webinar series. Our last one was on the topic of getting your chat functionality working and the advancements in chat and AI. This web series, which is webinar series, which will be lasting a month, will be focused on e-commerce and online selling. Specifically how to get your products sold online, either on your website or in a marketplace. So before we get started, a little bit about who we are. The eBiz Marketing Academy is an online community and platform for business skills learning. We provide our information and learning for e-commerce business owners, service business owners, local business owners, coaches, digital marketers, and more. So if you kind of fall into any of those categories, welcome, and hopefully you guys get some useful information out of our webinars, as well as additional information that we provide in our Facebook group and on our website. So without any more delay, let's go into what we are talking about today, which is what you need to know before selling online. So this is a little bit of an introductory into e-commerce. We're going to go into some basics on how to sell online. Obviously, this is a big component of what we're doing, what's happening now, because a lot of businesses need to refocus their efforts onto selling online, since they're not able to they're not able to do as much selling in person. So the components of e-commerce. So the way I'm going to break it down in this presentation is essentially we have there are different components to selling, and this is essentially the same components there are to selling in person. But it's just an easy way to sort of kind of frame it in our brains. So there's advertising, which is really kind of one of the first touch points with consumers. When it comes to digital advertising, we know about Google ads, we know about Facebook ads. Anything that puts your brand in front of consumers at the top of the funnel is advertising. And then there's marketing and sales. So and what basically essentially kind of separating that from advertising, meaning what you're doing in store. So if you had a storefront, what you're doing in the store, what you do to bring people inside of the store would be advertising, and then what you're doing inside the store to try to market and sell yourself, that would be marketing and sales. With relation to running an online store, that would be pretty much the majority of that would be taken care of on your website. If you are selling on a marketplace, like as we will go into, then it would be the customer experience and the marketplace. So then you've got production. Production is really comes first, but that's really being able to produce the products that you're selling. That's specifically geared around the production of the products or the delivery of the service. And then there's fulfillment, which is getting that product into customers' hands. So not something that something that people are really familiar with, but just framing it in that way, so that when we look at the different types of e-commerce, we can see how each one accomplishes each of those goals. So now, looking at the different types of e-commerce, you've got selling direct. Selling direct is kind of the standard way that people think about e-commerce, which involves which involves you as the business owner taking care of each of those components. So you're doing the advertising, you're handling the sales, you're doing the production, and you're handling fulfillment. And that's that's the most common way that people think about e-commerce. But there are some other models as well that you can utilize, but we'll go into those in a bit. So the variations of selling direct would be manufacturing. So you can manufacture your own products to sell online. You can also make your own products and sell them online. Obviously, the advantages of manufacturing is it's far easier to scale. um, you know, and the advantages of making it yourself is that you don't have to worry about manufacturing. So you don't have to worry about manufacturing. You can make it yourself. Of course, it's much more difficult to scale. The advantages of selling direct would be that you have the ability to build your own brand. So you can brand yourself however you like. You can grow your business pretty substantially, sell in many markets, and you can keep more of your profits. You also have more control at each step. So it's pretty beneficial. If you want to make sure that you control the product quality, or you want to control the market that you're selling in, you're able to do that. The disadvantages would be there is greater investment. You do need to spend on each one of these components, and you really have to build your audience from zero. So that tends to be the reason why people tend to shy away from selling direct, because you do really need to build your audience from zero, and you don't. You don't really get the boost of having a built-in marketplace as you would in a marketplace. Okay, so moving on, the next one is drop shipping. And the reason I'm doing it like this is because these are the drop shipping also involves advertising and sales, and we're doing a lot of focus in our webinars on the selling process and kind of doing things, kind of marketing and these sorts of things. So advertising and sales kind of falls in that. So essentially, if you haven't heard of the term drop shipping simply means that you are selling products from another producer or manufacturer who also handles fulfillment. So all I do is advertise, bring people to a store, sell in the store, and then I place an order with an external manufacturer, a third party, who then handles fulfillment and sends the products to the customer. So as you can see, I'm not handling the production or the fulfillment. It makes my job a little bit easier because all I really need to do is operate a website. The advantages are the low barrier to entry, and there's really no inventory risk. So I don't need to worry about holding on to inventory because I'm selling into a store that kind of I'm selling from a third party that basically handles all those issues. The disadvantages are that there's limited customer control, limited control over the customer experience. So I can't really control how long it takes for the customers to get their products, whether the products are packaged in the right way, as well as the limited control of the product quality. So the products, I hope that the products are good, but again, and you can certainly, there's ways around this. If you're selling, you send yourself some products and you check the product qualities to make sure that that the customers are getting products of good quality, but there's really limited control over that as well. Next, we have marketplace, and this is what people are, obviously extremely familiar with. Usually, people who are just dipping their toes into e-commerce will start out selling in a marketplace. Marketplace, obviously, the biggest one being Amazon.com, and so it has its distinct advantages as well. You don't have to deal with advertising and sales. All you need to deal with is production and fulfillment. So pretty. Again, if you're not interested in selling products and building a web storefront or advertising, certainly you have a built-in marketplace, and that's kind of one of the advantages here. So built-in market, you've got low barrier to entry, very easy to start selling on Amazon. I mean, you can just simply, if you have something that you want to sell, you can just put it on Amazon and sell it. And you also have essentially automatic social proof. You definitely need to worry about getting customers and reviews, but the ratings, customer ratings and reviews, but the ratings that you find on Amazon, people have there's a high level of trust for those ratings. So as you start to kind of produce and get better, and get higher, get ratings, as long as you can maintain a 4 to 5 star rating, it'll have a benefit down the road for your ability to sell. Disadvantages would be that there is a limited customer relationship. So you don't have the ability to continue. You don't. It's not very easy for you to maintain a customer relationship after the sale. And this is one of the advantages of operating your own direct selling, is that you do have that ability to kind of maintain the customer relationship. You maintain continue touching the customer. For example, if they abandon their cart and so forth, then you have the ability to maintain that relationship. And then there's limited branding opportunities because you're selling on a marketplace. You don't really have as much of an ability to brand your products and brand your services. So that's something as well. And then we've got white labeling. And white labeling, you may have heard of Printful, for example. That was the example I gave. But white labeling is basically where you sell products and services, or it as a white label service provider or service provider, you can sell your products in another store and allow another company. So you're selling B2B to another store and allowing another company to brand your products under their brand. So that, again, you don't need to worry about advertising and sales. You can basically just worry about producing the products and then and fulfillment. Producing and fulfillment. And of course, if you do it the opposite way, where you say, let's say I want to have a store and I want to sell Printful products, then it's the same in reverse. Basically, I'm worrying about selling the products, but I'm not worrying about producing them. Okay, the advantage. So the advantage, if I am white labeling my products, would be to reach a wider audience sooner. I don't have any inventory risk because the seller the seller has the inventory risk, so I can sell in bulk. I can sell as many as I want to in bulk. So if I want to sell 100 or 200 or more products to a seller, to a retailer, I can do that, and I assume no inventory risk. They hold the inventory, and it's their responsibility to sell it. And I can focus on product design. I can focus on just the things that matter to me, which is making great products. That's what's important to me, and I don't really want to worry about selling things. Then that would be what I would want to focus on. Disadvantages would be there's no connection to the customer. Again, I'm not touching the customer because I'm not selling the product, so I don't have that ability to maintain the customer relationship. And since I'm white labeling, I don't have ability to grow my brand. Okay, and then of course there's affiliate marketing. I do want to mention that one. We're not going to really be talking too much about affiliate marketing in our program, but it is good to know what affiliate marketing is, because what affiliate marketing is. If you want to just dip your toes into selling things and not worry about maintaining a store or producing products or fulfillment, then you can simply join an affiliate marketing program where and there are many that you can take advantage of. And it's basically where you get a portion of the sales when somebody clicks on a link that you provide, and you can provide that link in any way that you want. You can provide it to your friends. You can send it over email. You can run an ad. As long as somebody clicks that link and then turns around and buys the product, you get a portion of sales. So it's pretty easy. I would say it's easy to do, but it's pretty simple. It's kind of the least involved, and the advantage would be there's a low barrier to entry. There's minimal investment. There's really very little investment when it comes to running doing affiliate marketing. The downside would be you have zero customer relationships. So you have no ability to control the relationship with the customer, and you have no control over the sales process. So once somebody clicks on that link, they're completely out of your hands. And so because you don't have ability to control the customer relationship, and affiliate programs can simply just shut down, and you don't, then all of the affiliate sales that you were getting, all of the commissions that you were getting on sales just can simply dry up at the drop of a hat. So and one of the other advantages is that you can sell in multiple stores. So if I wanted to do an affiliate program if I wanted to join a number of different affiliate programs, I can do that. But if I wanted to join a number of different affiliate programs, I can do that. But yeah, of course, the disadvantage is my sales can dry up at the drop of a hat, and I don't really have any control over it. So that's kind of the problem there. So with that, we'll talk about the kind of touch on the key components of an online store. Let's see. So we'll talk about the key components of an online store. So when you're looking at doing an online store, and again, that will only apply to direct selling or drop shipping, where you're actually building the online store, and then you need to sell products in the online store. These are going to really be important. So the key components of having an online store are having a clean and intuitive design. That's really important. You want to make sure that your online store is mobile friendly. Yeah, you want to make sure that your online store is mobile friendly, and what I mean is that your online store is easy to browse on a mobile device. You can easily browse the products. The products appear visible. You can read the content. The content doesn't run off the screen. You don't need to pinch the screen to zoom in or zoom out. It's formatted for a mobile device, as well as for a desktop if I happen to be browsing on a desktop device. It should be mobile friendly, and the reason for that is that the majority of online sales takes place on mobile. So it's really important that our websites can refactor to a mobile device, restructure the layout to a mobile device. That's called responsive design. I think most people, or a lot of folks in the sales or in marketing, or who are selling products and these sorts of things, may be familiar with the term responsive design. It simply means that the layout of the page will change based on the width of your device, so that if you're browsing the device on a mobile screen, it will still look user friendly. Conversion tracking is something that I think a lot of business owners miss out on, and I think it's something that we need to really we actually try to kind of focus a little bit more on, to kind of helping people understand the importance of conversion tracking, because if you're not able to track what campaigns are converting and which ones are not, you can really kind of find yourself in a bind as far as understanding where you should be putting the most of your resources, and which campaigns are successful. So the name of the game is reducing your cost per click, your CPC, cost per click. The name of the game is reducing that cost per click and making sure that you are or your cost per acquisition. Sorry, cost per acquisition. And the way that you do that is by making sure that you're getting lots of conversions for each click on your ads. So that's really important. Discount code and promotional capabilities. So you need to make sure if you're building an online store that you've got this is sort of part of the process. So if you are going to build an online store using some of the platforms that we're going to talk about in the future slides, then make sure that you have the ability to create discount codes and do run promotions. That's extremely important, because as a online business owner, online shopping or e-commerce business owner, you need to make sure that you can drive the sale and also drive the subscription so that you can continue to remarket. It's really important. Ratings and reviews are really important for social proof. Social proof is also the name of the game. You want to make sure that people know that your products are quality, and the way you do that is by providing third-party reviews from people who have used your products. That's I mentioned that as far as Amazon, but it's extremely important on your own online store as well. Accessibility. WCAG, the Web Content Access Guidelines, that's important for a number of different reasons, but you want to make sure that your customers who are disabled can still access your content. It makes a big difference just with the customer experience. It's also helpful for SEO because you want to make sure that you have like alt tags on all your images, because alt tags can help your content show up in image searches. A lot of people think of when they work on SEO, they forget about images, but image searches are a really big driver for traffic. So don't forget about the image search and driving traffic that way. And then privacy disclosure is another thing that I think I see a lot of beginning e-commerce business owners kind of missing out on. So you want to make sure that you've got your privacy disclosures in there, just for legal reasons. You want to make sure if you are collecting third-party data that you're disclosing this information. All right, so moving on. So, not going that too far. Okay, so look at the top brands. One of the things that's really helpful if you're a small business owner that's looking to do e-commerce sales is to look at what the top brands are doing. I know that it's kind of intimidating. Sometimes we feel as though the top brands, they've got the resources, so we don't need to pay attention to what they're doing. We can do our own thing, but we really should always, as business owners, look at our competition, even if they are large companies, see what they're doing, and then see if there's anything there that we can sort of borrow from. So the top brands are doing a lot of really, really great things, and I think that we should all be taking advice from them, taking cues from them, and using them in our own stores. So top brands drive engagement. They're driving engagement through social channels. This is a really important thing. It's really critical that you are driving engagement at the top of the funnel. And the top of the funnel would be where customers are first becoming aware of your brand. Especially when it comes to a small business where there is very little brand awareness in the beginning. You want to use the social channels, which are free to use, as opposed to spending a whole lot of money in advertising, which we don't have. We don't have the resources that compete in that area as well. Utilize the social channels. Find the social channel that's the most appropriate for your customer base, and drive engagement through the social channels by using branded images. Ask questions of your customers and have them engage in the comments, and then occasionally run promotions that can drive that content, drive those customers back to your website to browse your products. That's really key. Another strategy that top brands use is focusing on the customer experience across touch points. So if your first touch point is social media and your second touch point is your website, and your customer, say, browses a little bit and then abandons cart or leaves the website, or maybe they subscribe, you want to have ways that you can continue to engage with the customer after they leave or before they leave. Sometimes, if the customer put something in their cart and they leave, you can reach back out to the customer and remind them that they have some items in their cart. Drive them back to the website to browse and consider more. Because usually when somebody's leaves something in your cart, that can be an indication that they are are looking at other retailers. Maybe they've left the site to compare prices, but you don't want to ever really drop the experience there, because that means that you were under consideration, and you want to remind them, just in case they don't find somewhere else that they'd rather shop. You drive them back to complete the purchase. Building, and that kind of goes into building a long-lasting relationship. So you really want to sell as an e-commerce business, but you're also looking to build a long-lasting relationship with your clients, with your customers. And the importance of that is, again, the cost of acquisition, because the more you can keep a customer, let's say, who purchased from you, and then you can sell them, the more that you can keep that customer relationship, the better chance you'll have to sell them in the future, which will reduce the amount of the cost that it actually the cost to you for acquiring that initial customer. So the more the customer buys from you, the less the cost of acquisition was. So you want to always try to get them to buy again and again. Upsells and cross sells. This is another strategy that you see a lot, and something that, again, small business owners should be looking at taking advantage of. When somebody is browsing a product, they put it in their cart, you can offer them some other things, maybe that are related products to that product. So that's a good strategy as well. And then again, as we already mentioned, finding ways to maximize the cost of acquisition. That's a really key aspect there. So again, just maintaining that customer relationship. So looking at platforms, so we're looking at a couple of different platforms that e-commerce business people who are getting started in business e-commerce might be looking at. We won't go through all of them. There are a ton of them. We'll just go through a few of them. Just a little bit of an intro. And again, we're not talking about marketplaces, so I won't be talking about Amazon or eBay. We're really just focusing in on platforms where you're actually building your own store experience. So first, we've got WooCommerce. WooCommerce is built on the WordPress CMS. WordPress is the biggest, the most popular content management system on the market. And WooCommerce is a plugin. It's the biggest e-commerce plugin for WordPress, as well as the biggest the platform by market share. And it is obviously, not only is it extremely popular, but there are a lot of add-ons and extensions for WooCommerce that give it additional functionality. So you really can do a lot. It has a fair amount of flexibility. It's very customizable. It does come with a bit of a learning curve, because it is on WordPress, and so you need to learn WordPress and you need to learn WooCommerce. So moving on, Shopify. That's another one that most people have heard of. It's also fairly popular. So it's also fairly popular, not as popular as WooCommerce, but really, really popular. It's got it is a platform and a content management system. So the platform and content management kind of go hand in hand. You can't decouple them. So I can't say have a Shopify store on WordPress. It's only on Shopify, and Shopify requires you to pay a subscription to host it. So the other thing I didn't mention about WooCommerce is it's totally free. That's important. WordPress and WooCommerce are totally free. They are freemium models. It's a freemium business model, so they have additional things that you can add to the functionality, extensions and so forth that you'll pay for. But you can have a fully functional online store with no cost using WooCommerce. Shopify is not free, and it is subscription based, so you'll need to pay that subscription to keep your store running. But the advantages to Shopify is you can have a store set up almost instantly. It's really easy to set up a store, and there's a fair amount of help that you can get from experts in the Shopify community. If you're having problems setting up your store, if you're having problems with doing certain things. So it's a really good platform for beginners. it does lack in flexibility because it is fully managed by it's a cloud-based platform that's managed by Shopify, so you don't have as much control over your server. And then we've got Magento. Magento is on the other side of the spectrum. It is extremely complicated. It's fairly complicated. I don't want to say extremely complicated. I don't want to scare anybody away from it, but it's pretty complicated. It's extremely flexible, more flexible even than WooCommerce, because again, WooCommerce is built on WordPress. Magento is not. It's its own standalone platform. Also PHP based. It is open source as well, so it's free to use. But because it has a high learning curve, it usually requires development. You to hire a developer to help you set up and possibly maintain as well. So just to give you the other end of the spectrum, Magento is a very robust platform, and it's extremely scalable. You can set up your server infrastructure however you like, so you can really scale it. Scale it as much as you like. Okay, so finally, I wanted to kind of go over some of the top e-commerce myths. So we can kind of look at what people are kind of believing, and maybe try to dispel some of them, so folks can kind of understand what they're kind of getting themselves into when they want to dip their toes into the e-commerce marketplace. Again, I don't want to scare anyone away. It's really exciting. The ability to sell things online just gives you so much more ability to sell to customers around the globe. That's really powerful, but there are certain myths we need to try to dispel. So first on the list, how once I open my store, people will come and buy. That's the number one myth. I see people believing that, and it's obviously based on what I've just explained to you, not true. So if you're selling direct, or if you're running a drop shipping store, getting people to come is going to be your number one priority from the beginning. Obviously, after you've created your products, you've branded yourself, you put the store up, the first thing you'll notice is nobody's there. People don't come and buy. The online marketplace, it's a general marketplace, is incredibly competitive, and Google is incredibly competitive. So you definitely want to get your products, get your pages optimized for Google as much as possible, and get yourself on Google. But even with that, it's extremely competitive, and so there are a number of different tricks that you'll need to take advantage of to get yourself visibility in Google. And these are some of the things that we'll be talking about in our future webinars. But that's something that to really consider. Second, if I have a good product, it will sell itself. So a lot of folks are believing that. Again, not true. Just because you have great products doesn't mean that it sells itself. Certainly, it's a great start to have great products. You want to make sure that if you're selling direct, one of the advantages of that is, as I mentioned, being able to control the product quality. But just because you have a good product doesn't necessarily mean that people will continue to buy it. So you need to make sure that people are aware of the products and able to come and see them, and then I'll obviously again see the social proof, and that will help people make the purchase decision. Number three, I can create my store and leave it alone. So a lot of folks kind of set up a store and then they just leave it and don't do anything with it, and it starts to collect dust, and that's not a good thing. You definitely need to continually update, continually see which products are performing, see which products are not performing, take the products that are not performing off the store. The ones that are performing, you can feature them on your homepage. It's a constant effort that it's basically that involves reviewing your analytics, reviewing your conversions, seeing what's converting and what's not, and then making adjustments. So that's really important. It's not a one and done kind of business to get into. 4, customers click on the ad and buy right away. So if I'm running an ad, I put an ad up, and I put an ad to my product page, and I say, cool, somebody's going to click on the ad and they're going to buy. And oftentimes people believe that, and what they find out, the harsh reality is a lot of people will click on the ad and nobody's going to buy. So that's the number one thing that's the thing about advertising in general, not just e-commerce, but ads in general, that people have to realize is that there's more to the customer experience than clicking on an ad. And there are ways that you can make the ad more functional, and more useful to you. But you want to make sure that it's important that the customer experience is strong once they click on the ad, and you're providing that customer experience on your website. And not only is that important, but also um, there's a rule in marketing called the rule of seven, which means on average it takes seven touches on the customer to make the sale. So it's very rare that somebody's going to click on an ad and immediately buy just by default. So just understand that by default, somebody comes to your website off of an ad, they're most likely not going to buy. And then our responsibility as sellers, as retailers, is to continue that customer experience. So you want to collect the customer information, and then you can sell them again. Sometimes, like for example, Facebook offers a tracking pixel that allows you to then remarket to the customer. So they've clicked on your ad, they've landed on your website, they decided, okay, I'm good, I'll check out some other content. Well, the next time you run an ad, you can present to that customer again, because you tracked the customer since they last came to your site. So there are tools that you can use, and again, you want to make sure that you're using the appropriate privacy disclosures, that you're collecting their information. But there are tools that you can use that will allow you to continue the customer experience and get to those 7 touches, so that you'll more likely make that conversion. Number 5, I don't need to worry about my site content. That's a big one. I see this one a lot. A lot of folks want to put up a store and they don't want to do anything regarding site content. Sometimes that means that they don't really worry about taking quality product images. That's a big mistake. So definitely would want to dispel that myth and make sure that you focus your energies when you're presenting your products on taking quality product images. In addition to that, there's also the site content that just written site content, product descriptions, descriptions of your brand, descriptions of your brand story, your mission. This sort of information is really critical as well. Not only to help build your brand and help the customer relate your brand with their with certain ideas and concepts that are attracted to them, or kind of sort of that brand affinity, build that brand affinity. But also it helps. So it helps build the customer. Kind of it helps you make the sale. But not only that, but it's also fantastic for SEO. So you want to make sure that you have you have the content there that can drive SEO, that can drive Google visibility on Google. Again, with your images, using alt text, the text that appears when the text that drives that contextualizes the images on Google search, but also the content that fills the pages should be full of your keywords, so that when people search for those keywords, that your content will appear. Number 6, creating a custom website will cost a lot. So that is not true. It does not necessarily need to cost a lot. But your strategy should be based on how invested you are. So if you're looking at talking quickly about cost, if you're looking at building a website for cheap, it's very easy to build a cheap website. I won't necessarily recommend starting out with a super cheap website that won't convert, because then you're not going to get the results. If you're not putting the investment in to get the results, then you're not going to get the results. So you want to make sure that you're spending at least enough to fit all the requirements that we talked about before, when we talked about a quality online experience. But at the same time, it doesn't need to, right out of the box cost you $5,000 to build a website. So just need to keep that in mind. It can be fairly inexpensive. And one of the strategies that might be useful is to think about building a very simple website at the beginning, and then scaling up to a larger website down the road. So that is one strategy that a lot of folks can take advantage of. Number 7, once I make the sale, I'm done with the customer. So obviously not. We talked about that, so we don't need to spend too much time on that. But when you make the sale, you want to maintain the customer experience so that you can sell to them again and again. Your previous customers will be your easiest customers to convert in the future. Number 8, people care if I say my products are quality. Again, if you want to convince people that your products are quality, you need to provide that social proof of other customers who have purchased the products. Sitting on a video on your website talking about how awesome your products are won't necessarily be the most effective way for you to make that point. It's really, in many cases, all about social proof. Number 8, number 9, the product quality doesn't matter. Product quality doesn't matter. So that obviously is not true. Product quality is extremely important, and you want to make sure that you're focusing your energies on product quality. If you are, again, direct selling, product quality is going to be really important to you. Then so you want to make sure that you're focusing your energy on making quality products and that's kind of, again, one of the advantages of direct selling over something like drop shipping. Finally, I don't have to learn how to sell. I don't have to learn about how to sell. Again, that's kind of what we do. What we're doing here is helping folks understand how to sell products. Constantly learn. It's important to constantly engage in as many learning opportunities as you can. Join webinars or groups like this one, where you can learn more and more about how to sell your products, how to maximize your sales, and how to minimize the cost of acquisition. This is pretty critical when it comes to building a successful online marketplace, especially online store, especially if you're coming from a place where you have not built this before. If you've done it before, just know that there are folks that have built a career on selling things online, and you're going to be competing against them. So you need to make sure that you have that extra little advantage that comes from talking, getting information from webinars and blogs and from online groups. So with that, and just go over some of the conclusions. It's important that you select the right business model for your online store. It's extremely important that you select the right platform for your online store, although not as important, because you can always change platforms. That can get costly, but again, if you wanted to start with something simple like a Shopify that allows you to set up a store very easily, and then after you've started selling products and you get a little bit more familiar, moving on to something a little bit more complex like a WooCommerce, that's totally acceptable and a reasonable strategy. And then number 3, the important thing is that you kind of learn as much as you can throughout the process. Never feel like you've learned enough, because the marketplace or the landscape is constantly changing, and so you want to make sure that you are evolving with it. So that is the end of the presentation. I definitely would like to open up to any questions for those of you guys who have joined, and if not, I definitely would like to thank you guys for taking part in the presentation. And that's it. So again, my name is Omari Valentine. eBiz Marketing Academy is our group. Feel free to join. We definitely enjoy the participation, and look forward to more great looking forward to more great webinars on. Again, this month is e-commerce, so we're going to be doing e-commerce this month, and we'll be following up with some great content. So next